Okay, it's almost 7 p.m. at Malaysia, and I think the time is there to start our workshop. I formally welcome all our participants. So this workshop will be roughly about 2 hours time. Uh, uh, in the start, 10 to 15 minutes, Shahid will cover key topics or key concepts, and it will be presentation for 10 to 15 minutes. After that, we'll be sharing a survey. So participants will be answering about 15 questions in that survey. And after you submitted that survey, we will be discussing and giving feedback. And then we will have about 15 minutes more on critical review and all that. And the last part, 1 hour plus, will be hands-on session where Prof. Shahid will be actually sharing some data and showing practical aspects of all uh, CQI. Okay, so Prof. Shahid, you can start now.
Okay. Thank you, Hasnan. Can you all view my slides?
Yes, Prof. We can see. Just make it in a slideshow mode.
Yeah. I've done it. Okay.
Great.
Thank you very much, Hasnan, for this workshop moderating again. And really thankful to Prof. Zadi, Shifa, and the team, Prof. Bukhari, Mubashir, Tabassum, and Prof. Sholeh, all that we have been working almost day and night for these workshops and webinars. So with this fifth webinar, this is fourth webinar actually. Three have been done on various other topics, but the previous webinar, previous workshop was on the same topic with more input and knowledge that we gave you about the psychometrics of assessment. Now we are taking it further on to see how do you apply these psychometrics of assessment in your practice. And this practice is about continuing quality improvement. This continuing quality improvement apparently look from the terms it's about assessment, but through assessment, we actually evaluate the assessment results, and through that, we look at the entire program. So going in that direction, but often I see there always has been a confusion that we mix up the term assessment, or they are used interchangeably: assessment, evaluation, test, measurement, and on top the quality in relation to that. So let me clear those terms first, so that we kick a start with a very clear mind that has no confusion, no ambiguity about what is assessment and what is evaluation basically, and how is going to have an impact on quality in terms of assessment as well as the entire program. So basically, continuing quality improvement in medical education, you see, the continuing quality improvement has been basically used more for the business companies and all, but continuing quality improvement in medical education is used for the same purpose, but a bit different in the sense that the assessment is analyzed, which we call evaluation, the process, and what outcome that we receive. We in evaluation, we are focused on outcome, and outcome is used to actually readdress our program assessment entire course or the module or program, whatever level we are doing it. Okay. So in medical education, a CQI is the process of evaluation of assessment through data analysis, actually, and this is to find the degree of conformity to a predetermined standard. This standard is very important, right? Situation that we do evaluation for. This situation could be an objective. This situation could be a standard, globally standard, could be the standard determined by the senior management of your institution or by the accreditation of higher education. Okay, so it depends. If the quality through this process is evident to be somehow in trouble, is unsatisfactory and not meeting the outcome, then attempts are made to find the reasons for this. These evaluation will actually, these are the statistical evaluation which will finger point to the problem area where the problem is. But this problem, how do you interpret this problem, will be like sitting together, all the faculty or the exam coordinators and senior management, and see how this, because statistics will just finger point to the problem area, but it's not that interpretation is yours, right? And I have been repeating several times. For example, if in item analysis you find that something is really very difficulty index is very high, but something is from the essential item, it's ought to be high. So interpretation is yours. So a robust approach is imperative to change the mindset from the traditionally practiced evaluation, which is based on reliability, based on Cronbach alpha, to more robust. And this workshop is designed in a way to take you to those robust and new approaches which are more meaningful. And next talk we will debate what are the pitfalls of the Cronbach alpha actually. So the assessment is a process of gathering information, often as a score, a number, right, to monitor a student's progress in terms of their acquiring knowledge, skills, and attitude. It provides useful data and help faculty to make educational decision. And we use assessment strategies. Sorry for the error, typo error. We use assessment strategies to manipulate learning that takes place, right? It's a feedback. It's a feedback to faculty or the instruction. So assessment, we think it's we are giving feedback to the students. So the feedback we are giving to the students is not assessment actually. It is the feedback that we are giving is in terms of evaluation, which determines their grade. So as I go along, you will make it a little more clear. And I have last night made a table for you to make it precisely clear. So the assessment may include tests or methods such as MCQ or observation, multi-source feedback. So it can be an observation when you're looking at the attitude, or it could be a number, or it could be a rank order and all. Now, evaluation compared to assessment is a procedure to determine whether the learners have met a preset criteria or not, right? If you have declaring them pass or fail based on the grades, so they have to meet one of the grades that declare them pass or qualified. So evaluation uses assessments such as a test to provide grade, right? So now you see, I'm moving from assessment back to assessment. Backward in assessment are the tests, right? Forward to assessment will be the measurements which yield scores, right? And this whole process is evaluation at the end. So evaluation is the most complex and less understood, and often used interchangeably with other terms like assessment, measurement, and test. So I'll try and make it clear for you because I have made a flow chart for you, easy to grab. So interacted in evaluation is the value which yields information to make judgment. So evaluation actually ultimately makes a judgment to declare somebody qualified or not. Now look at this flow chart, will make it easy for you. So we start with the test or method. This method could be anything like an observation or whatever. So method could be multi-source feedback. Instrument can be one of those, that MCQ, SAQ, or SKI, just for an example. Then this together make an assessment, which is a procedure to gather information based on number or descriptors. So if you are using numerical numbers, you are using as a score, then it is number. Or if you are using a Likert scale, for example, in many health professional education, we have an assignment as the basic instrument for assessment, and those are provided with a rubric to the marker. The rubric is, for example, 1, 2, 3, unsatisfactory, satisfactory, and excellent. So those are the descriptors, provided descriptors on a Likert scale. So it depends, right? So measurement, and then if it is a Likert scale, then we are actually taking you through how do we actually evaluate evaluators, right, from one to another, in terms if they are using a score or if they are using a rubric. So ICC, inter-class correlation coefficient versus Cohen's kappa. That will be in hands-on later. So measurement uses principle as procedure in education test and assessment, right? So the assessment will end up or will produce or will provide some measurement as a raw score, percentages, percentile, standard set score, for example. And this is used in evaluation to grade and ensure a learner have met a preset criteria. So it provides the feedback to the students, whereas assessment provides the feedback to the teacher. So I hope it's clear. Very quickly, my last slide here. So for this talk, conclusion, the assessment versus evaluation. Number one, it provides feedback to teachers on their instruction. Okay, should be very clear to you. Evaluation provides the feedback to learners on their performance. Number two, it focuses on teaching and learning as well as outcome, whereas evaluation focuses purely on outcome. Assessment gathers information as a score to monitor students' progress as an ongoing procedure, whereas evaluation uses assessment to provide grade. Okay. Outcome of the assessment is the measurement that in terms of raw score and all that I told you earlier. And the outcome of the evaluation is the analyzed assessment data that can be used for continuing quality improvement. Assessment strategies are used to manipulate learning that takes place, whereas evaluation yields values, right? So you may have a score, but this score, say somebody has a score, but you do not know what this score means unless you grade them, and grade will be in terms of A, B, C, D. So there's a value added to that score will make it evaluation. In C, continuing quality assessment, it plays a role to provide data for evaluation. And the same continuing CQI, evaluation data is used to evaluate the instruction. I hope you all have clear, because if this was not clear, probably how I'm using the term evaluation and assessment in this entire 2 hours workshop might have been confusing you. Now I have tried to clear the concept of evaluation and assessment, as well as measurement and tools and continuing, right? Okay, so can we, now the next would be, I pass on to, unless there's some question, otherwise I pass it on to Hasnan to take you through a survey. This survey is something regarding how you are using your assessment scores or number to evaluate, and use the evaluation outcome to address your continuing quality improvement. So basically this survey is about that. So with this survey, because if I just do sort of with the plenaries, probably it will not help you. So we need to know how are you doing your continuing quality improvement, and how are you using the assessment to evaluate and come out with certain inferences that are used to address your program or instruction. Okay, over to Hasnan.
Thank you, Prof. I have already shared in the chat. There is a question from Nabil Jafar. Evaluation can say that is like global rating, fail, pass, good, pass, yes, excellent, and assessment correct, is the checklist mark.
Yes. Okay. Assessment is the checklist mark, but end of the day, when we assess, actually, it is the students who achieve marks is the assessment score. But of course, to start with, you have a criteria in terms of checklist or global rating. Global rating is actually also an assessment. But after the global rating and the checklist score, if you're referring to OSCE, when we put together and then we declare a cutoff score, so that cutoff score is actually decides on students' evaluation. Okay, so if they achieve that cutoff score, which is set at any number, it's your evaluation. Or simply, if you have to remember, the grade determined after the score. But in continuing quality improvement, actually, you have to think a little beyond this assessment and evaluation definition, and you have to think of, you have assessment, you have administered, student have achieved certain number of certain scores. You are using those scores to look back by analyzing, and those analysis that we are going to give you will be in terms of reliability and validity of assessment. So first thing, most important thing is the assessment has to be reliable. So we have to determine whether the assessment we are doing is reliable or not. Otherwise, say for example, assessment has got a lot of flaws on part of the faculty in structuring the item. So it is none of the students' fault, right? So we have to look at that. The reliability and validity is achieved in the first place. That is what the task we are doing. Based on the outcome of the evaluation of whatever the assessment results that we get, we analyze that, and then we apply that to our continuing quality improvement. Is that clear, Nabil?
Yes, Prof. Yes, see clear now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Well,
So I would suggest like you can take 10 minutes to fill this survey because there are 15 items in the survey. And meanwhile,
Hassan,
Prof
you need to
will...
share the screen, so I should stop.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
I already shared the link.
Mhm.
Can anyone confirm? Are you able to access the survey? Title is Reliability Measure for CQI.
Yes, yes, Dr. Hassan, we are able.
Thanks, thanks,
Amen.
thanks, Dr. Nabil. Okay, there is a question. So,
Mhm. And this survey you might have to. It's not you may use checkbox kind where you have more than one answer, right? It's not MCQ. You may have more than one answer also. And then some in others you have to put your own if something has been missed out. So use the last one, which is about other methods. Okay. Yes, Aslan, question.
that's why I don't know whether we should take questions because they are answering questions. So I don't want to interfere there.
Okay.
Could we hold,
But,
or you can use in the chat and reply?
But you can ask question. I can be. They are multitasker or adult learner. They can write. They can hear.
Okay. So the question is how to decide on evaluation process to ensure you are considering the assessments accurately.
Okay. So evaluation to start with, you have to right from the beginning. It starts with the blueprint, vetting, right? And then after that, standard setting. If you are doing a standard setting also. So these are the parameters that actually starts with the actual prior to the administration of the assessment. So after the assessment is administered, then you have to evaluate the assessment in terms of reliability and validity, basically. Okay. We make sure that the assessment set, all the questions that have been structured are actually completing the criteria set for reliability and validity for any institution. But nevertheless, we have to do it, and it is done at item level and at test level. We have done both, right? Item level, we have done item analysis, and at the test level, we have done in psychometrics. So you use those reliability, validity, and look at the impact of those on your assessment. And based on what you get, which will be the next hands-on letter after an hour, so those results will be very meaningful results that you have to look into and interpret whether you are in a right direction or there are some flaws, conformity, not met with what you have set the standard or the criteria, then you have to readdress them. So that is all about it. And then we have put some question about the continuing quality improvement. How does it work as on administrative level? So how many levels do you have to really consider? For example, working group, and then you do it at the curriculum level, you do it at the postgraduate, higher level. So different levels that you have to do it. So CQI, every institution has got its own structure. Okay, but the information that you get is from the evaluation of assessment. But the entire process is not dependent on the assessment score or what the information you get from the assessment. The procedure starts right from the beginning that, for example, you have an assignment. Based on assignment, then you have to develop a very good rubric, right, for the marking. If rubric is not provided to the students and the marker, probably that is not going to be realistic in terms of what if you engage, for example, 3 markers, they may be on different page, right? So that's not really a good thing. So calibration exercise either you do, and we have a workshop on calibration exercise, which is later in maybe end of this year, around maybe early next year. So we have a calibration workshop also. So either you do calibration, and if you have a very good collaboration system available to your faculty. Probably, as Prof. Lambert was talking that day, even one evaluator is enough. But often we do not do that. Often we practice because we are not sure that the one evaluator judgment would be adequate enough. So we usually engage 2 or 3. But today we will be talking on if we engage more than one, how is going to be evaluated for inter-ratal agreement or consistency. But basically we look at the inter-ratal agreement, and I'll give you some statistical tool, very easy to do actually, using those number, and you can end up with a very obvious result that how your 2 or 3 raters engage are working.
We got 10 responses, but
Okay.
we have around 50 participants in our workshop.
Okay, so they are still doing maybe.
Yeah.
But in downloading or getting to the link is no problem for them. Everybody got it.
Yeah.
Can you start? Should I stop sharing the screen so that you can? Hasnan?
Yes, Professor.
Should I stop sharing so that you can share the result?
Yeah. Let them do first, at least 50%, and then I will share.
Okay. 10 have completed already.
Yeah. Any other questions from participants? Please use chat.
Yeah, make it interactive, right?
Or
comments or anything that we are learning from each other.
Got 12 responses.
I can see in chat about Nabil, he has asked the global rating is assessment or evaluation. So global rating with 5, 3 or 5 Likert scale is assessment. But end of the day, based on the global rating, regress with the checklist score, what we get, the cutoff point, and that becomes our criteria for the evaluation. So it's quite complex to really separate assessment evaluation, but I have given a good table to compare. So global rating is still an assessment.
So, Prof, sorry, it means that the evaluation, the end result that we will get the cutoff point of passing, this is the evaluation of the whole group, means that the whole batch.
Yeah, so you will take the individual OSCE cutoff point, then if you have 10 stations, then you will make an average of 10 stations, and those 10 station average will be your cutoff point for the entire OSCE, right? And this OSCE is actually your standard, which is evaluation, right? Based on that, you will evaluate the student's performance.
Yes, thank you, Prof. Now it's very clear. Thank you very much.
Okay, well. I just saw in chat, actually, I was free to read the chat box.
If you want me to share the results?
Yeah, can.
Okay. Share my screen. Okay, can you confirm, Prof? You could see now the
can see. Yeah.
Google form, So we got 14 responses.
Okay.
So let me show you the summary of it.
Okay. So Hassan, can you read for me, because it's too small for me to read from here. Yeah.
Let me make it slightly bigger. Is it okay now?
So yeah, okay. That's good. Okay. Do the accreditation body or the Ministry of Higher Education provide framework or guidelines? So yes is 57.1%, and maybe they are not sure is which is a big number, and I'm wondering why. But anyway,
Maybe by the end of the workshop they will be clear.
Okay, so so no is also some number are also no. Next. Okay. Next is do the quality framework guideline for framework or the guideline from your respective country focuses on administrative basically is all. So they focus on both administrative report, and this is this has to come, because if you evaluate, there has to be a report which is to be considered at different level for implementation. So it's rightly addressed all. So meaning that administrative report is to be there, reliability and validity has to be there. But there's a number 7.1%, which is still none has been done. So none has been done in curriculum practice, where assessment is there but evaluation is not done. Okay, next.
Yeah, it's just one participant.
Oh, is one participant, but it reflects as 7.1% because 14 only. Okay.
Percentage, yeah.
Okay. Is it obligatory to practice CQI, adapting the quality framework guidelines, to monitor your program through regular? So this is yes is 40%, and 20% is no, and another 40% are not sure. They are not sure, because sometimes we do not want to. I really don't like putting it not sure or maybe or not confirm kind of thing. But you see, if we put that, a big number is there, which if we take on a very fast value, well, it means that either it is not there, the system is not there, or the respondent may not be aware. So because it's maybe, so they are not sure, but still it's a big number, 40%. Oh my God. Okay, next. Do you rely on Cronbach alpha? And majority, as expected, is 66.7% are relying on Cronbach alpha. Right now we will discuss in a very critical review what the inferences are there drawn from Cronbach alpha, and how we can improve if we adopt to other more robust methods. Okay, next. Is a big number using it, and it's not surprising. If you use Cronbach alpha as the main reliability coefficient in evaluation of assessment, are you aware of the limitation? And I'm happy to see that almost 50% said yes, they are aware of it. Yet they are using it. So we will find the 8 out of 14.
15, so 16.
16, okay. 8 out of 16. Okay, so 43.8% are not aware of the, so that's good. This workshop is going to pay off. Okay, so you'll learn. Good. What are the other statistical methods that you use in your evaluation of assessment in written tests of knowledge? So standard error of measurement. That makes me surprised, you know, if you are using it, that will make my task easy today. But how much are you using it? To what extent are you using it? Are you implementing to do the correction of the raw data, or you just use it for looking at the flaws of your assessment? That we will discuss. This we have to discuss in interactive session. But a good number has been actually having this the statistical method that you use in evaluation assessment of written test. So the standard error of measurement. This is something which is mainstay of today's workshop as well. But we will do both standard error of measurement, standard error of estimate, both, because they are two different terms. One is for clinical exam, and other is for the written exam. So I'll discuss the both. Okay, next. They are using kappa also, meaning that maybe in postgraduate program where there is a small number and mostly the results are based on assignment, where rubrics are used and a Likert scale. So kappa is there. So we will have a hands-on both on kappa and ICC both. And that's the next in hands-on session. We'll demonstrate both. and data will be shared with you. You can do it yourself as well. When I'm doing, you can follow through. Okay, follow through, and then you can do those. What is standard setting method do you practice in a repeat exam with a small number of students or ski? So majority, as expected, is doing NGOF, right? But other are doing ABEL, but my recommendation will be ABEL, because the difference is in NGOLF actually, which is a repeat exam, remedial exam, students are very small number, right? And those small, and then so those small number, usually we use NGOF method, modifying NGOF, but modified NGOF is about what proportion of the student can do it rightly. But ABEL looks at what proportion of the items in terms of difficulty in terms or relevancy, what proportion of the items actually can be done rightly, right? So ABEL fits in more into that, but one can do with NGOF also. But we will discuss about how do you, is any selection criteria if you are doing a standard error of measurement? Are you using those standard error of measurement to decide on who will be benefit from the repeat exam? Because I tell you, in institution, my institution, we use until 2 standard error of measurement that we pick up the students, allow students to actually take the repeat exam. And literature has also, there are a lot of articles you can read. Those who fall in 3 standard error of measurement actually, so actually they may not benefit, and they are the can
Sorry.
Hassan,
Yeah.
can you ask?
Yeah, I already mute.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry
Next.
for that.
Okay, next. No, it's okay. Next is, what are the other reliability and validity methods used in evaluation of extended response question, which is assignment, or in so many words, it is the long essay. Previously, our time, we used to call it long essay and short essay. So so to assess, they are doing it with okay. So what are the other reliability validator? Very good. Actually, I'm having a very good participants here because they are already relying on where they know the constraints of assignments with a low number of students, and the assignments that may not address the entire content. So the blueprints, weighting, marking rubrics, and other have been, the blueprint has been used by many, and then the alignment of the learning outcome has been, so constructive alignment has been used. Alignment means the learning outcome and the assessment that we put. So those are being practiced is a good news, and marking rubrics also practice is a good news. Okay, next. What assessment evaluation of CQI do you practice in performance test of OSCE? This is Cronbach alpha. Okay, Cronbach alpha. This will be interesting because majority of is using Cronbach alpha still in OSCE, and we will see how it really doesn't make it very meaningful. Okay, next. Okay, what assessment of evaluation methods do you practice in clinical tests of long case? Here, independent t-test. Okay, good. And the kappa is also used. Okay, and ICC is also used. Good. And the standard error of measurement is also being practiced. Besides, okay, next. Others methods, very small number. Okay, do you feel it's high time to move from traditional? And yes, 68%. I'm happy. Yes, 68%. So we have come here with an open mind that if the Cronbach alpha has certain limitations, what would be more robust approach or new approaches? That's part of this workshop. Okay, next. Do you need training as advanced courses in standard setting and psychometrics of assessment to practice? Everybody has said yes, and probably SIVU is going to offer courses, short courses in future. Prof. Zadi would be here. He will later on in conclusion he may announce. We are soon going to have some short courses on this. Probably that is going to make something available to you to really get trained in. But these workshops are also, we have put all these workshops. You see, we are doing on monthly basis. We are doing these workshops, and this may actually give you some vision as well. Okay. Next. Okay, what level of training do you think should be sufficient for you to practice CQI with robust approach? What level of training do you think should be sufficient for you to practice CQI? This is workshop, 50%, and then we have a big number, 37% is the short courses. MOOC, a small number have opted for MOOC, and not sure, again, a small number, but mostly are relying on workshop, right? Okay, good. Next. What assessment evaluation method do you practice to determine the reliability of extended response question as a assignment practice, particularly in postgraduate program? So, evaluation methods is workshop, short courses, MOOC, none, not applicable. Okay. Then if, in your opinion, do you think continuing quality improvement approach using framework or guidelines to monitor a program through a regular evaluation of assessment is necessary? And a big number has said yes, which is 93, 15 out of how many, Hasnan?
16.
16. So 15 out of 16. So it's a very absolute majority, right? And this is saying yes, they all want it. Okay, that's very, very good news. Okay.
Thanks, Prof, for feedback.
Okay.
So we have a question by one of the participants. What is the difference between evaluation and assessment in healthcare system?
Yeah,
I'm not sure whether.
Yeah. In healthcare system, basically it relates to continuing quality improvement, right? Continuing quality improvement, that you look through the assessment analysis, what you get, you evaluate your program, if it is a program, if it is a service or whatever. So you look back to that. So assessment can not only be the student's assessment, it can be a survey also given to the patients, right? All the other stakeholders. So anything that is reported as an assessment, and we get back some number or some Likert scale kind of thing, then we evaluate that. So the evaluation actually yields some value, some kind of number or the data that actually is further used to look back whether the set learning outcome of the objectives is met with or not. So it's very clear, right? So evaluation is going to ultimately look at the learning outcome achieved or not, and that will give way to further improve your program. If it is a healthcare system you're talking about in terms of survey, or you're talking of the medical institutions in terms of the scores that we do in assessment of the students' performance.
That's all, Prof. I think we should move to our next task. That's like the most interactive part of this workshop.
This is a little bit more, this I have to remove to go to the next, which is, but this is little critical review of the Cronbach alpha, and then third is the interactive. So yeah, this one. Okay, very quickly I'll go. So since from the survey we got, the concept is very clear about the Cronbach alpha and all, but some of you still want, a big number have still wanted to know what are the limitation of the Cronbach alpha, right? So we do the reliability. If you look at this, you can see the reliability methods. Look at the stability or constancy. Constancy is in short term. For example, you're comparing, you have once OBA as a gold standard, and you have introduced extended matching question, and you want to do a correlation study, you can do that, right, to look at the construct validity in terms, this is constancy, which is supposed to be a short term. But what our focus today will be internal consistency, right? We will talk on that, but beyond Cronbach alpha, and then rater consistency, which is rater inter-rater agreement, that we will look through CAPA and ICC, and also the independent t-test. Okay, 3 statistical tests of measure of reliability are provided to evaluate the performance. These are very important. When you do Cronbach alpha, what are the basis of the Cronbach alpha is, the first thing is the intercorrelation of item score. So when the let me see. So when we have a number of station, for example, or item, we do Pearson's correlation, and we see how the one item correlates to another, and an average of entire correlation is inter-item correlation average. So that is the first thing which is in the formula of the Cronbach alpha. And second thing is the length of the test also will have influence. Longer the test, even the number of the students taking exam will have an influence on Cronbach alpha. And the content of the test, diverse subject in terms of dimensionality, they being not the same construct, will also have its impact on the Cronbach alpha. So alpha can be used for dichotomous and continuously scored data, right? Dichotomous is like OBA. And then Cronbach alpha from 0 to reported 0 to 1, less than 5 is unacceptable, 5 to 6 is poor, 0.7 to onward is acceptable, fair, and excellent is 9 and above. Cronbach alpha is defined as the estimate of the internal consistency. But remember, internal consistency, we assume that the items are from the same construct. That is an assumption for the Cronbach alpha. It is not an indicator of how many constructs are being. It will never measure your constructs. It will not tell you that. It will just tell you whether they are consistent or not, but will not tell you that they were from the different constructs. So you have to have factor analysis, principal component analysis for that. So alpha is not the reliability of homogeneity or the dimensionality. For example, in OSCE, we usually get a poor Cronbach alpha, right, compared to OBA and other, because the OBA, the OSCE stations are multidimensional. The student move from one station to another, so they have different mindset for doing those, and probably in exam situation, their performance in apprehension and moving from one task area to absolutely another task area may have influence on their performance. So assumptions to meet for alpha is therefore normal distribution, first of all, items correlation on homogeneity and unidimensionality. These are the assumptions. Then your Cronbach alpha will work well. If not, then. But there are other things also. In case of OSCE is more like a composite. So OSCE is not a scale, right? Like OBA and all that we do is in a scale. On a scale, you have multiple items. But in OSCE, it is a composite score. Composite score of different station make a scale. Okay, so that you have to keep in mind. So that may have an impact on alpha. You may have a very good OSCE stations, but alpha may not reflect on that. Talking about the reliability of OSCE, we talk of the other reliability indicators and not alpha alone. So if you are doing alpha, then my suggestion would be, particularly in OSCE, you go and do an factor analysis as well for to look at that they fall in the same component, or they are, or construct, or they fall into different. So root mean square error and omega statistics is getting popular now, and we should move on to that and rely on that. Now, very simply, I give you the formula that we have. The formula to calculate is the number of items, which is indicated with N, and the C is actually the inter-item correlation average. Okay, and then we have a variance there, right? So it is the number of items multiplied by the average, and then is divided by variance. So now let's, as I give you the example, you will be able to make it more clearly. what it exactly means. But let me tell you first things, the rapid increase in reliability from 2 to 10 items. So as you increase the number of items from 2 to 10, there is a rapid increase in Cronbach alpha response, right? Steady increase in 11 to 30, and there is a tapers off after 40 items, okay? Now, look at this. So these are 5 items, right? 5 items, and we have run a Pearson's correlation. So each item correlating with another item. So I have demonstrated that day in last psychometric workshop that how do you calculate the inter-item correlation average, right? Is very simple. You highlight one, you just equal sign average, highlight 1, comma, highlights 2, comma, highlight, and end of the day, you get the correlation average. Now, this correlation average is very important in Cronbach alpha. So the alpha will be determined by 5 is the number of items, and this is correlation, and then you plug in all the same to determine the variance here, and end of the day, you get 0.73, which is the alpha, Cronbach alpha. Now, I'm going to change, and I'll let you know, so keep in mind that the inter-item correlation average is 0.34. I'll play with this number. Now, instead of 5 items, I have added 60. I have added 55 more items. And what happens? Suddenly it shoots up. It's not about the quality of the item. I have just simply added the number and it shoots up to 0.96, right? Here, what I did, number is the same 60, but inter-item correlation average I have reduced, has also an impact, right? Suddenly the alpha will change, right? Now, high correlation, but same number of items. So here, instead of changing the number of items, I have changed the inter correlation average, and you see what happens, right? 8.95. So inter-item correlation and the number, simply the adding on the number will also change the Cronbach alpha. So this is what we have to keep in mind. So dimensionality of the scale as reliability, it is in addition to computing coefficient. You have to do some other methods to do it, and the best method would be to analyze it with another, for example, total variance explained, total component metrics table. So we can run factor analysis to look at the dimensionality of the OSCE stations. Are they the same construct, or they are falling into different constructs? Okay. So root mean square error would be an option in place of the Cronbach alpha, particularly in OSCE, where to determine the reliability of the pass-failure standards by estimating the cutoff point, right? So the lower the root mean square, the more reliable is the pass-fail. There's no specific number yet the literature has come out with the value like we have in Cronbach alpha, but less the number is better. So less than 1 is considered better, right? But no specific number has been so far decided in literature that can be considered as good, bad, or but it should be as low as possible, 1 or less. The regression-based method calculates the individual station root mean square and a model of the OSCE checklist score versus global. So what we do in OSCE, we have a checklist score, we have a global, then we regress it, and then we decide on a cutoff point. An average of all station is the average, the cutoff score. Right. So this is the formula we use in, it's a complicated formula, but computer do it. And I have done this for you in the last. So I will move on to do other things, but if time permits, I'll repeat this for you also. The method provides an estimate of the root mean square, right? It is the, actually what we do is in root mean square, we have a model, right? Model, which is, we use regression method, regression equation. So a model is used and we come up with the model score, right? From that model score, which we get from the equation, after regressing the global rating with the checklist score rating, this equation is used to determine a model score. This model score minus the observed score, which is the checklist score that the students achieve, is your residuals. So what is this? It is nothing but the residuals, the we make it, we do it in a square of the residual. So the squared residual root mean square taken as a mean and root square, it actually your root mean square error. So what you do, you develop a model, you have a observed score minus model, which is your residual, you square the residual, and then you take a mean of all this in terms of root square, and that is your root mean square. So it calculates the error across the individual OSCE station, and then we will have so root mean square will be, end of the day, it will be 1 for the entire OSCE station, but model score will be different for different students, observed score different, residual will be different, but root mean square will be one number. And in literature, there are not many articles. I found these 5 articles, and these have been reported to have root mean square 0.6. So C is less than 1 in decimal, and this as less as possible is better. So less the number, better the efficiency would be. Okay. So what we do, as I said, a global rating score, checklist score, then we develop a model using the formula like B naught plus B1 X, and then X is our the standard set, the borderline student. In our case, we keep it at 2. So we multiply it with the 2, right? So the line of slope multiplied by 2, and this is the intercept line. So this calculates a model. So this model, which is a predicted score, right? Model is a predicted score from the regression equation, and this predicted score, when we minus it from the observed score, and then we do that become your residuals or error, right? So observed score minus the predicted score is error. We make simply a square of this, right? So in the square of this, we take the overall root mean square, which is 1 number. So here you will have a list of number as many as the students taking the exam, and then end of the day there is 1 number, which is the reliability coefficient for the OSCE. Okay, so this number you can always get it from the scatter plot. I have explained it to you. So you have already this number there, so you can calculate a model, or you can use ANOVA. So this is exactly what we do, right? So this is the global rating, checklist score, then the model, which is based on the equation that we worked on, I just showed you. And then for individual students, this model will be different. Why? Because you see, if I go back, each in model, this number, which is the line of slope, is multiplied by X. X is the borderline students. In our case, X, we fix it at 2. If we want a mean, we will times it, multiply it with 2, right? But actually, for individual students, the global rating will be multiplied by this number or line of slope, right? And added with the y-intercept to have a predicted score. So this is the predicted score of this student, right? This predicted score is minus student's actual score, become the residuals. This residuals is then we make a square of this residual, and then we apply a formula that, and this formula will yield one number, which is root mean square error. Okay. So in conclusion, alpha is the coefficients of reliability that determine the inter-item consistency, but not the dimensionality, or not the difference in construct within the item. Alpha can be reported high with high number of items. You simply increase the number, alpha will increase, and determine the reliability with the Cronbach alpha. Therefore, also need to perform the factor analysis if you want to do. But root mean square will be an alternative. With this, we move on. If no question, then next is to move on to actually our interactive session, right? Hassan, over to you. A little breather,
Prof.
and then I move on to you.
I will share the link in the chat to access the data created by Prof. Shahid. So I have already shared. So can anyone confirm, if you click this link, you should be able to see a folder named CQI, and there will be 2 files in that folder. First one is a Excel format. The other one will be SPSS.
So can we open the first file, which is the SPSS saying ICC? Okay. Here we are going to perform two ICC and independent t-tests. Why? ICC will give us a score with a value that ICC will give. We have a range, right? And from this range, we will determine whether our ICC here is worth it or not. And then to confirm it further, we will do the independent t-test. Independent t-test is the two raters have been giving a score to the same students, right? And a number of students have been rated by these two raters. And then we will look at the ICC intra-class correlation coefficient, which is computed. We will see whether it's acceptable or not. So we have a different number allocated for this. So acceptable or not, and then later on, actually, we will. I'm doing this because I'm skipping the slides, which have some more plenary on this, but why not do directly? If the time permits, I'll go through those slides as well. So ICC, how do we do it? So here you can see the score is here. For the data is very important. How do you develop your data sheet, right? If you look at, there is almost 71 students who have taken this exam, rater 1 and rater 2. And then for T statistics, if you remember, the raters are put in one. So one, there are two raters, 1 and 2, given in raters, this thing. If I go there in the variable view, you can see the raters. These are, if you look the values, rater 1 and rater 2. And then we have the raters score, right? And this rater score is in one column. And the other two, rater 1 and rater 2 score is actually for the ICC to do. Okay. So this worksheet has to be developed this way. So we do analyze, right? Then we go to the scale, right? Reliability. And here, if I remove this so that it doesn't have the impact of the previous that I have done. Okay. So we actually go first in the item box, which will bring, we are doing ICC. So in item box, rater 1, right? And then rater 2, right? So these rater 1 and rater 2 in item box. Then we go to the statistics, and the statistics, you may not do this, but I would be interested in the standard deviation. So for this, if you check out item scale and this will also give you an overall mean of the score and the overall standard deviation, which I'm going to use in the standard error of measurement. Okay. So then next is to check out your intra-class correlation coefficient. But then here you will see the model. This model is one-way random, where the students are random, right? Picked up, and the examiners are fixed. Two-way renders, where the both are random, and we normally use. Normally, if you are using, my recommendation is use to two-way mix, right? In two-way mix, the evaluators are fixed, and they are examining different students, right? But of course, there will be a number, say 71 student is not expected to be evaluated by the same evaluator. So within that, you may have different evaluators, but they will be fixed for certain number. So okay, so best is to in the model you select two-way random. Here, the type, there's consistency and absolute agreement. Consistency, we are not interested as much as we are interested in absolute agreement between the two raters. So I click this, continue, then you click OK, and you get the output table, right? Which we will see in a minute. There is down there. Okay. So the output table here, I'll go quickly because I have to do a lot of statistical tests here. So don't look at the Cronbach alpha here, right? We are doing ICC, intra-correlation, intra-class correlation coefficient. So ICC, here, if you see, this is the overall standard deviation, which I am interested in to do the standard error of measurement letter, because this is required. But what we are interested in, to go to the intra-class correlation coefficient table. Here it is 0.393, for example, done in with the data given here, right? And then this 0.393 is considered to be low, right? It's a low. If you look at the normal intra-class correlation, it is low, right? And the next thing that you have to look at to further confirm it, the upper bound and the lower bound in confidence interval, which we are taking at 95% with alpha. Alpha is kept at 5%, the type 1 error. So with type 1 error, alpha keeping with 5%, this is 95% confidence interval. And when we look at this, you look the range, the lower is 0.026, is too low. So you look at this, they should be around this number, 0.393. And the upper bound, so there is a lot of variation between the marking of the two raters, which is fluctuated between the lower bound, which is too low, to an upper bound, which is too high. It should be somewhere around 0.393, but that's not the case. And then 0.3. So this is low. So similarly, you will read it out for that. Okay. So now we want to see this from different angle, and that is the t-test. Okay. So see whether t-test confirms this or not. So when you do the t-test, we will be using this column 1 and column 2. So analyze, right? You go to the compare means independent t-test, right? And then you put the rater's score here, which is for your convenience, I have to take it back to the normal view. Then this is the test variable. So I will take, these are the previously I used rater 1, rater 2 for ICC. Now I'm using rater 1, this for t-test. So bring it here. Then an option, do I need to check out anything? No, continue. And then yes, one thing, this should also be taken out. Okay, now in the score, which is given by the two raters, which is in worksheet is shown in one column, is here in test variable, but grouping you have to bring. So the raters, you have to bring it here, right? It will come here. But this rater, this computer doesn't know who is 1, who is 2. So we have to define the group. So click define, and then you can actually, we are using two groups. So group 1 is 1 and group 2 is 2. But you can put, for example, you are doing male, female, then you could put 0 or 1, like this also depends. But here we are two raters, rater 1, rater 2. So continue, right? And then you click OK. Now, there are a few things here, which is assumption. First assumption is that the variance, there should be normal distribution, the score, and we have a good number, 72 students. At the same time, the variance should be homogeneous, right? Homogeneity of the variance, which is determined by what? With the Lebanese test. So in Lebanese test, which is the F statistics 0.362, like T statistics for the independent t-test. And what you are looking at, so say our hypothesis is the variance between rater 1 and rater 2 is the same, right? So this is so they are given the homogeneous environment in terms of number of the students is the same. They are the same. They are marking the performance of the same students, right? So variance should be ideally equal. So to do that, so our null hypothesis is the variance is rater 1, variance is equal to rater 2, and this is null hypothesis. In null hypothesis, you reject the null hypothesis to actually deny or accept your null hypothesis. So now we are considering that rater 1 variance is the same, rater 2, meaning that they are marking the same student, same environment, everything, right? Same questions. So that one is about the variance. But when we look at here, it is more than 0.05, which probability alpha that we have picked is 0.05, it is more than that. So we will not reject the null hypothesis. We will accept the null hypothesis, which says the rater 1 and rater 2 variances are the same. So that is an assumption we have achieved. After this, we move on to T statistics. Okay. So in T statistics, you look at here, it's 4.23, which is here, which is less than 0.05. So the null hypothesis will be rejected, that rater 1 and rater 2 are not equal in their marking. Okay. So here, that was for the variance that we did for the Leibniz test, but here we are looking the independent T test, and our null hypothesis is that rater 1 marking is equal, same as rater 2, but this is less than 0.05. So we reject the null hypothesis and we accept the alternative hypothesis, which says no, they are different. Okay. So that we have done, nothing more in T statistics, right? So next we move on to, I think this ICC has been done. Let's do the kappa. Now, where do you apply the kappa test? Will be, let me open the other SPSS. Yeah. So this is for the kappa. Let me remove this, right? This, actually I was doing it. So let's clear that. Okay. Now, in kappa, when you are using qualitative data, in scores a number, you continuous score, you use ICC. In nominal score or ordinary score, where you have, say, Likert scale, for example, then you use kappa, right? So simply that. But hypothesis is we always in hypothesis we always keep is based on the assumption that it's a parameter of the data, and null hypothesis will we expect that the raters are agreeing well. Okay, that's what raters are. So our hypothesis is raters are agreeing well, right, with addition or stripping of the what do you call the chance effect. Okay, now again the worksheet has to be developed accordingly. So this is the student's ID, then rater 1, right, and rater 2, and what they are marking on? They are marking on 3 Likert scale, right, which is unsatisfactory, satisfactory, and excellent. So they are given 3 rubric, but then you have to convert this into label or number them. For example, unsatisfactory, I have labeled it as a 0. If I go there, right, you have to give value number. This is here. So if you look at 0 is unsatisfactory, 1 is satisfactory, and 2 is excellent. Okay, so that you will do first, and then first thing we want to see how it really appears on a very raw way of doing it, that what is the agreement between the 2 rater. So you can transform it, find a difference between the 2. So we calculate, transform, go to transform, compute variables, right here. So you remove this, otherwise it will, okay. There you put, actually you will type difference, right? You type difference here, difference, right? And then you bring the rater 1 into this box, minus rater 2, right? Minus rater 2 there, and then you click OK, right? And you get the difference. So automatically it appears on your worksheet. So this is the difference. Now just an eyeball rolling impression, you look at wherever there is a 0, meaning there is no difference of opinion between these 2 or agreement. So 0, 0, 0. So if you calculate this 0, probably this is 35. So 35 of them are actually in agreement. But this is in addition to the what? In addition to what? So this may be some of the this thing that we have could be some kind of what do you call there could be different reasons for the agreeing them, but this agreeing is actually, this agreement is actually beyond the chance. So how would we ensure that this is beyond the chance? So to look that beyond the chance, here that 35 has the same, but this is in addition to the chance. This score could be by chance. This is where kappa will come in. So kappa, when comes in, kappa will calculate, will strip off the chance, right? And then we'll look at it. So for example, here 35, but let's have it in a statistical way. So we go to the analyze, right? And descriptive, and then we go into the frequency, right? And here we have to, so the difference, the new variable that we calculated just now, transform just now difference, we bring it to the variable box. And then in statistics, we see anything I have to do, no, nothing, okay. So I press okay. Now what I get? Frequency here. I'm not getting the frequency exactly. I should get a table here. So analyze discrimination frequency difference. That's okay. Charge by post statistics. Okay, sorry, I put the other because we have two differences. I deleted this one, so I actually brought this in. So we have to put in this one, the second one. Okay, so I should have removed this column. Okay, so now we go and press OK. Okay, this is what we get now. With eyeball rolling, we found 35 or 0. There was no difference. Here it shows you 35, right? So the percentage of agreement is 70%, but this is in addition to the chance, right? The chance, which is here. So the kappa will come in, and when we do kappa, this chance effect will be removed. So we strip off the chance effect and we see what happens. So we go back to the data, we do analyze, right? Then we do the, where is the compare means? No, this statistics, descriptive, not really. So analyze, descriptive, cross tab. We go to the cross tab, okay? Cross tab, and then let me remove this, let me remove this. Okay, in cross tab, we have two rows and columns. So you can bring rater 1 into rows and rater 2 into columns, but it doesn't, you can exchange them, it doesn't really matter, okay? So in kappa, we bring it to the rows and columns. It doesn't matter whichever you put which way. Statistics, you have to check out kappa here, right? Nothing else we are interested in. Okay, now we click OK, and then we look at. Now you see what happens. Now it was, what was the agreement that we found without the chance effect was how much? 35, 70% was in agreement, right? But here it seems only 0.438, right? Value. This is it's just a moderate value for the kappa, right? Here is 0.438. Now the best thing is, so it's slightly low, but this is after the kappa has done computed stripping of the chance effect. Now you look at the rater 1 and rater 2 here. According to the hypothesis that we thought that they will be in agreement was 1.3, but we found that it is 5. Similarly, you go to rater 1, rater 2 in column 2, expected was 19.8, but we found it was 24, right? The count is 24, similarly in 3. So all in all, we found 0.438, which is slightly on the moderate side, not it's acceptable, it's okay, but slightly on the moderate side. So values I will give you in when I talk on my slides. So these are values where you get the these poor or acceptable or excellent and all. So this is how do you do kappa and the ICC in there. Now, next thing that we are going to do is actually is the standard error of measurement and all the other things. So for that, if I can go quickly from the Hasnan, how much time do you have?
Yes, Prof, we have 45 minutes.
Okay, then let's quickly go through this, right? So that when I do the next, so this we are doing the this is about the calculating and interpreting the standard error of measurement, standard error of estimate. They are two different because they are one for the written test and other is for the clinical test. Then we have done the ICC and kappa already, but other reliability indices we are looking at is the R square, integrate discrimination and all. Okay. So what are all these standard error of measurement and this all? So I'll be taking you through very fast through this. What are these? What are they used for? What are their purpose? What are these? How are they estimated and how are they applied? And a final consideration. So standard of measurement is a standard error is the standard deviation of error of measurement. Supposing you have 10 station OSCE, we have a mean of that, and we look at that the how far away each station is from the mean, right? So the standard deviation of the errors, error of measurement from a mean that all other station will have, it is standard error of measurement. Is different from a standard error of mean, right? A standard of mean is different from a standard because this is calculated based on the reliability and standard deviation, both, right? Now, standard error of estimate is the same thing in clinical test of OSCE, is the measure of the accuracy of the prediction made by the regression statistics. In regression statistics, we use checklists and the global rating, okay? So when they are regressed, we look at this. The error that we get is the standard error of estimate. Root mean square error, I have talked already, is the square root of the mean of the squared error, the residual that we had. I have shown you how do I have talked how do we calculate it, but we'll do practically also. Last time I have done it, so I will do it at the end. Do the new things. R square is the statistical measure. This is important, right? I have put direct checklist instead of using the word independent and dependent will confuse you. So R square is the measure that represents the proportion of the variance of the checklist score explained by the global rating score. Is it clear? So this has to be used very cautiously. Why? Because if the global rating score, the tendency is where the institutions actually or the senior management calls for explanation. Say for a student is getting on checklist score 90 marks and you put him as a borderline or fail or just pass, you might be questioned. So the tendency is, particularly with the junior examiner, the tendency is they will try to keep themselves very close to the checklist score. If that be the case, the R square is not a good parameter for you, okay? So you have to first make sure that the examiners are well trained. They are usually told that don't sum up the checklist score marks, because once you sum up, probably you will get you will have a bias. You can't give somebody who is scoring 90, but you have reasons, because remember the global rating scale has been considered better than the checklist score. Literature have proved it, right? So it is better than but it should be marked very meticulously. And there must be reasons. You have to put down the reason. If somebody is scoring 80 and you put him as a borderline of fail, what is the reason? He might be unsafe for that station, right? He might have done a lot of mistakes and all. But checklist score, usually students get high marks. That's why OSCE usually compensate for the long cases, that if you have long cases also, students who fail many will compensate with OSCE. Because in OSCE, the checklist score actually help them achieve good marks or passing marks. For example, you have marks for introducing yourself, explaining the procedure to the patient, and then of course having thanking him and asking him at the end if you have If you put marks for each of these items, probably your students are out of 10. If 5 is the passing marks, then they have already achieved 2. They have to score another 3 to get through. So this root, the R square, will depend how the global rating has been meticulously done on the student's performance. So you have to be you should be cautiously using the R square. Intergrade discrimination is nothing but the line of slope or the slope of regression, right? Linear regression that predicts the change in checklist score determined by 1 unit change in global rating. So if, for example, I mark a student 3 and he has a checklist score, but if I marked him 2, so 1 unit change in global rating from 3 to 2, how much there will be a change, which he might have a score already scored right there, but the computer will predict, right? So moving from regression line, for example, from 3 to 2, then predicted score may be different. So this is, so these are two different, and these are the relative reliability. The absolute reliability is root mean square error and standard error of estimate for OSCE. But the relative reliability we achieve is, as I told you, the reason you have to be, the global rating has to be very effective. And the intergrade discrimination is considered also one of the relative reliability measure. Okay. The true score is never known. We have an observed score minus the errors. Error is if you have the means to determine the error, and in standard error of estimate and standard error of measurement, we are going to do this exercise, right? So we are going to determine this error in terms of standard error of measurement for the written test, standard error of estimate for the OSCE, okay? And then we also look at the root mean square error and the R square and the intergrade discrimination, right? Okay, now it allows, what the purpose is, so it allows to quantify the extent to which the test provides accurate score, right? So if low level of standard error or SSEE indicates a high level of accuracy, if it's high level indicates a low level of accuracy, right? Vice versa, right? And then, for example, how sure we are as students who achieve 65% in OBA and 55% in OSCE is the true score of that students, right? So that will be determined through this exercise that we are going to do next. So root mean square error, the R square, the intergrade discrimination help us to determine the reliability of the score, okay? Formula for the standard error of measurement is standard deviation you need to know. That's why I did that, right? I check out the scale also to have a standard deviation of the entire score. Then you have to have the alpha, which is reliability, and square root 1 minus alpha. The standard error of estimate, root mean square error, R square, and then IGD, the intergrade or this discrimination is all determined by ANOVA, or we can also use for SEE, we can use a simple formula. Equal is TIX, right? I'll do that for you in a moment, and then we have that, okay? This I have explained to you. For root mean square error, you have to have 2 scores. You calculate the model from the equation. You minus from the observed score is your residuals, and then squared it, and then you apply a formula to have this, right? Now, what is, let me have a little water. Okay, how is this estimated R square? So this R square, the concept, I want to make it clear for you so that you understand. For example, I have an OSCE exam. These are the students. They have these data points are indicating their achieved score, right? So on a graph, it appears like this. Then we draw a mean across this score, right? Next, we measure the distance of this actual score from the mean, right? This is one measurement. Then next, what we do is that we have the regress the score. Now the predicted scores are the yellow one, right? The actual scores are here in the blue and the predictors are the yellow one. Now we also measure, one measure was the actual score from the mean. The other measure is the actual score from the mean is 1, and then other is the predicted score from the mean, right? So this is another distance actual from the mean is 1, right? Then we have distance of the estimated predicted score from the mean. This is another measurement that we make. And then we also have a third measurement, which is the actual score from the predicted score here, right? So these are three different estimate we take. So this is the this is SST, right? So this SST is the actual score from the mean, 1. Then we go and take the predicted from the mean is SSR, is the residual that I just showed you. We use it in root mean square error. And then we have another score, SSE. So these are used in formula, and this formula determines the R square. So what is R square? R square is the proportion of the SSR, which is the predicted score from the mean, divided by the actual score from the mean, which is SST, right? Or you can use the other way around, 1 minus SSE when you are using, but I recommend you remember this only. Okay, so the R square is the predicted score from the mean divided by actual score from the mean, right? Is that clear? If you read it, you will take days actually to make sense out of it. So graphically, I have made it easier for you. Okay, so this way you will determine the square error of the estimate. But this square error of the estimate is if you want to really make a decision to reconsider the student marks, considering if the error is very high, or you want to see whether your assessment is working well or not, then you have to use it. How much confidence you want to be about this assessment. 68% confidence, right? Or you want to be 94% confidence or 99. So usually in practice, we use 95% confidence interval, that we are 95% sure that the score that we are going to determine of a student who has an observed score, but what we are going to use the standard error of estimate applied to his score, then there'll be a range, upper bound, lower bound, that we want to be 95% sure that this is correct. Okay, so then we get the R square, and this also through this, as I do the procedure, you will see. So final consideration will be, just because an instrument produces score with high level of the accuracy doesn't mean those scores are valid. You have to have a standard error of estimate, standard error of measurement, right? Unless you produce that, your Cronbach alpha may be misleading. The reliability estimate uses regression statistics and depends how effectively global rating is estimated. Okay, so hands-on exercise, we will be doing a standard error of measure, a standard error of estimate, and all. So how would we determine this? So say, for example, we have a score. We determine the mean of the score, right? We determine the standard deviation, reliability. These are used in formula. Then the this thing is the alpha. Alpha is the chance error that we want to keep it. We allow only 5%. So alpha probability will be 0.5 with 95% confidence interval, allowing 5% chance effect. Okay, then Z score. So at 95% confidence interval, the Z score is 1.96, but we will tell you how to calculate is also. Standard error of measurement is this. So what we do is the standard error of measurement is multiplied by the Z score. So the actual standard error of measurement will become 7, not 3.74, because we want to be 95%. If we want to be 68% sure, then we can keep this score, right? But if we want to be 95%, then we have to multiply this with Z score, which is the Z value of the 95%, which is 1.96. So this standard error of estimate or measurement will become 7.3. So you minus this from the mean, you add this to the mean. So the upper bound is 58 and the lower bound is 53. So if a student scored 51 marks, this is not the true marks of that student. His marks fluctuate with our error considered into this mark, fluctuate between 43.68 to 58.32, right? So this is the, we will never be able to know the true score, but at least we know that this student is actually his actual marks range between this and this, but we do not know. Until that we do not know, we considered the observed score as his true scores, right? But that's not the true score. So the how do we calculate? We use the ANOVA and a scatter plot to do the calculation and all. I'll do, and then this is onward about the validity. This I have kept. If we have time, I'll do and touch on factor analysis. But let me first do with you the hands-on on this. Okay. Now I'm coming to the, so if you open this Excel sheet, sheet 1, right? This is sheet 1, and in sheet 1, we have a, let's do the standard error of measurement first. Okay. As I said to you that the Cronbach alpha, if you want to do, you have to have minimum two sets of score, right? Two sets of score. So say this exam, which is about OBA, 100 items, you can administer them in the first hour, first 50 items, and second hour. This is good because examination unit also should look at the data they need for the evaluation. If you do not have the data, if you have produced, you have given me as an arm, the medical educationist, you want me and or as an statistician, you want me to calculate reliability, I cannot do it with one score. Then I'll be asking all the individual item score, which may be 10 or 50 items, but then 50 items to put in a item box and calculate, then probably I'll be applying a split half method that I have discussed last time. But what we are doing here now, I'm giving you a situation where the exam unit is conducting this 100 items OBA, 50 at one time in first hour, 50, and after a 5 minutes break or 10 minutes break, or without a break, they administered the paper 2. But these two data, if produced this way, they can be more valuable. Okay. Now, so what we are going to do is, let me remove all this because I have been. So okay, but I'll be, so to save time, I'll be using this. Okay. Now here we have this data, and now we want to calculate the standard error of measurement. Now you see what we need. We need a mean score or individual each student score. But say for example, we consider a mean score, F1 of the student score, and we see is this his true score or not. Then we need a standard deviation. Then we need alpha, right? And then we need to calculate the standard of measurement using this formula. The probability or the chance effect, we keep it 5% is 0.05, 95% confidence interval, we calculate the z-score, and then actually we will calculate the upper and lower bound. So now let's begin with right. So we go to the data analysis, right? And we go to ANOVA, right? We are looking at to go to ANOVA, a two-factor without replication, right? So what we do is we will take all this score. Let's remove, this is previously I had done, remove this. Okay, so now take the paper 1, paper 2, right? The whole data into this input range. Oh, sorry, I didn't actually mark it. Okay, so in this range, I take this, right? And then keeping with alpha at chance effect at 5%, which is 0.05. If not that, you can type it here, or and then I remove this, right? I am using the same worksheet output. So click here and then mark one cell, right? And click OK. Okay. Now you will get this table. As you get this table, there, forget about the top table, which is about the correlation and all, forget. We are interested in the mean square, which is MS, mean square rows and mean square error. So the formula that we use for the reliability is alpha 1 minus mean square error and mean square. So say, for example, I use this formula and let's do it here, right? What is formula? 1 minus mean square error divided by, okay. So I do it here, okay, use this cell, equal sign, right? 1 minus, right, parenthesis open, mean square, this is error, click this, right, divided by mean square rows, which is this, right, and then close the parenthesis and enter, right, 0.5100. Now you got it. So you can do all, you can repeat at your end. Okay, so 0.50 we have. Now we alpha 95% Z score, we know it is 1.96, but I'll give you formula to calculate this also. Chance effect is 5%, 0.05. Now the standard error of estimate, right, is use this formula, and the formula is, so I use at the same cell opposites this. So okay, equal, right, standard deviation, which is okay. Let me calculate the standard deviation first for you, right? Standard deviation we have actually we can calculate. So this is standard deviation. Okay, so simply you put equal sign here, STD, right? STDS, this is a sample, right? So then you take these two score, browse through, highlight all this and press enter. Okay, no, it's, yeah, okay. So standard deviation is the same 1.51. Okay, alpha we have calculated just now, mean square rows, 1 minus mean square rows divided by mean square error, mean square error divided by mean square rows. Okay, so this is how we go, and then we now we have all the number, just plug in those number, right? So here equal, right, standard deviation, what is this? Standard deviation is this, right? And then after the standard deviation multiplied by, so asterisk, right, and then square root. So you just type SQT square root, there you get it, right? And then what is 1 minus, so 1 minus what is the alpha, which is this 0.5. Click here and press enter, right? So standard error of measurement we calculated is 1.06. Okay, now simply what we are going to do is now that this we want to calculate standard error of measurement considering at 95% confidence interval. So simply you will, what you will do with 95% confidence interval here equal, right, then your the standard error of measurement we have calculated is this, right, and then multiplied by the Z score. Where is the Z score? This is the Z score. Okay, now press enter. So your actual standard error of measurement is 2.089. Now simply what you do, you determine the lower and upper bound. So the mean, what is the mean score? So you want to determine the mean score also. I forgot to score. So mean score, you put equal sign, average, right? This is your average. Go of the both score taken together as the mean for the two, and then press enter. So the mean score out of 10, this is 6.37, right? So now you do simply equal, you are determining the lower bound, equal sign, right? This is the mean score or any individual score, student minus the error, and you get this. So this is student upper bound, equal, right, the mean score, which is this one, right, and then plus, this time we plus, and we have the error, and then enter, we get this. So you see, the students, or here we are considering, because we don't have the individual student, so we are considering the mean, right? You can do it for the individual, you can calculate same for the individual student also. So this is the mean score we are taking as an example. So 6.3, which is the mean square, fluctuates between 4.28 to 8.45, which is actually the range which reflects on the students' true scores. But we will never be able to know the true score. It is a range. So until that, we consider the observed score as the true score. Okay. So this is about the standard error of measurement. Now we go to do the standard error of estimate. Okay. Now click open your sheet 1. Okay. I clear this first. Click open sheet 1. Okay, as you click open sheet 1, you see a lot of things automatically you will get it. So that's the beauty of this standard error of estimate. So what you do is you go and you do it with your data. Click data here in your icon, and then you will, on the right side, you will get the data analysis. This I have explained it to live. If you don't have in your computer, you can download. It's easy from file and options available. So data analysis, right? In data analysis, previously reliability was doing regression. Now we ANOVA. Now we want to go to do the regression equation. So this is regression. Okay, right? You get this. Again, I remove all this for you to explain. Okay, so this box input, y input will come first. Y is your dependent variable, which is checklist, right? And global rating is your independent variable. So just browse through until the number that we have 30, right? Then input x-axis. You must be careful in doing this. Reverse, you will get very weird result. Okay, this one. Then 95% confidence interval, right? We want to keep it at 95. So I check out this box, and then on the same sheet I'm doing it. So I click this, right? Now I will just simply say, for example, I click here and then okay. Okay, so I get this. So this is what I get, and lot of things you will get automatically appearing here. For example, you don't have to calculate R square. You can calculate also the concept I gave you, right? But is readily available to you, R square, right? 0.333. So meaning that the 33% change in checklist score is actually can be explained by the global rating. This should be more than 50%. Here we are getting 33%, 0.33, or should be more than 50% to be reliable. Okay, so this in this particular case is not reliable because only, so meaning that the global rating and checklist score are not aligned well. Okay, somehow. Okay, now standard error of estimate. You don't have to calculate, but standard error of estimate you will find here also. 6.67. You can just put it here, 6.67. Integrated discrimination score, which is 5 point, here it is this line of slope 5.1. And for this, as I told you, R square should be more than 0.5. This should be, there's no value actually determined in literature, but this is getting very popular now. This is getting very popular. Even some people consider it to be the absolute reliability index. Actually, in European this 49, I think, code, they have determined a number which is 1/10. It should be 1/10 of the overall checklist score. So if checklist score is 100, this should be somewhere 10, right? So in this case, it is 5, right? So it's 5. It should be around 1/10 of the checklist score. So it is 5. lows. The cutoff score, you know how to calculate it, and we have y-intercept and we have the inter. So here, if you see, this is the y-intercept 5.1, and this is 54.88, and slope, line of slope is 5.1. So for the cutoff score, how do you do that? Cutoff score is simple, right? You have the formula, which we have say B0 x plus B1, right? So with line of slope, you multiply it with your borderline, which we have kept as your borderline, which is 2 in like global rating, or you can take a student's global rating score here. So for example, we want to calculate this at our borderline, which we have kept at 2, or using this particular student's score, right? So what you do is that you put equal sign here, right? 5.17. This is 5.17, right? So I click here 5.17, then multiplied by the global rating. So for example, I'm taking the global rating of the first student, right? Is say, no, our global rating we have set is our borderline. The global rate at the borderline our is 2. So we multiply it by 2, right? Sorry, we multiplied it by 2. Asterisk is all there. 2, and then plus sign, and then you add this mark, which is y-intercept. Press enter. This is 65.22 is of with our global rating at 2. You can calculate it for individual students also. Okay, predicted score. For example, what do you think the predicted score for this student will be? What is his checklist score? Observed score is 80. What is predicted score? Let me find out here. So his predicted score will be, let me calculate here, right? So you put an equal sign here, right? Then you have the line of slope, which is here, intergrade discrimination, 5.15. Then asterisk, which is multiplication sign, and this student's global rating, which is this. I click here, right? Global rating is, no, sorry, global rating is this 3. Okay. And then plus, and then we take the y-intercept and then press here. So actually this student whose score is 80, the predicted score is 70.40. So similarly, we do the cutoff score, right? And keeping with our borderline, which is at 2, but for you want to calculate for individual also, you can do that. For example, here in this case, observed score is 80, but the computer is saying this student predicted score should be 70.40. Okay, so that we have done everything except the except one thing. Yeah, one thing here. If you look at sheet 2, maybe 3, yeah. Here, one thing is left, which is to calculate the standard error of measurement with this one where we have done the ICC. If you're doing it, as I told you, you can use this formula and do it for mostly people use Cronbach alpha. But if you're doing that is for OBA or any other score, composite score, the OSCE and all. But if you have the raters, 2 raters, and you want to know the standard error of measurement between the 2 raters, that you can calculate also. For example, here for this, you need to have standard deviation, right? 7.79. If you remember here, if I can show you the output table. In this output table, if you remember that I click the scale to have overall, where is the ICC? Yeah, here, right? So here, standard deviation, this is the individual for rater 1, rater 2, but somewhere I did it for for both, right? Standard deviation. So standard deviation for both. So you probably this is kappa and all. Okay. So actually, I did it before. So if you click the scale also, if you want me to do it, I can do it now. For you, this is ICC. Okay. This. So I quickly run analyze, scale, reliability, analysis. We have put these two statistics, right? In the statistic, if I uh, 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 check out this item scale and then the intraclass, then I continue, right? Okay, I will get the overall standard deviation. So the overall standard deviation of everything will be here. Okay, this I get standard deviation, right? That was individual standard deviation. Now I get overall the 7.79, right? And the ICC is 0.393. Now I go to this, simply plug in, right? So for example, I want to do the ICC for this two raters difference. So equal, right? Equal standard deviation, which I showed you how to calculate, is there. Then multiplied by, this is asterisk, right? Is square root. So you SQ as you type, then click there, square root, then is 1 minus, right, is ICC. And ICC we calculated is 0.339. I click it and then I press enter. So the standard error of measurement calculated is 6.33, right? This is a standard error. So 6.33. This is the standard error of measurement for the, this is not the OBA paper 1 and paper 2. This is rater standard error. So this is quite a big number of standard error of measurement between the two raters, right? So this is how you can actually go applying all this. You can analyze your entire tests, right? So this okay. So what else is left in the same? If you want to do, so for example, sheet 1, global rating and this, okay. So you can do the standard error of estimate. You can calculate it from ANOVA also, but there is a direct way of doing it also. Put equal sign, then STY, STY. Did I get STY, this, right? Then you scroll through checklist first, right? If I'm not wrong, if I remember rightly, then comma, and then you go and do the global rating score, right? If you want to do that. Okay, 6.67, right? So you can get it by using this formula also. You don't have to go through ANOVA and do all this, right? There you will get it together with the R square, standard of error measurement, and then you will have this mean square rows and errors, which you can use for calculating the, there's a direct way, just simply equal STYEX, STYX. First, you scroll through the checklist. Always do remember checklist, comma, then the global rating. You will get directly the standard error. Okay, there I'm done. So these are the all very robust way of knowing the reliability and validity of your this thing, of your assessment, and these outcomes that you have are for your evaluation. Now you will go back and evaluate. Okay, this exam done. Standard error of measurement is very high. What we can do, you go back, look into your structured questions and the way the exam has been conducted. There can be several factors, right? You may not know it. Is it the faculty, it is the student, or it is an interaction of the faculty and the students? Unless you know the generalizability coefficient, we can run, but this could be an advanced course of doing it. Being in a medical educationist, you need not to know all this out of your interest also. I mean, you can do these courses, but it depends how much are you interested in it, right? You can go to the extent the way you show your interest in it. Medical educationists who may not be doing all this, they always find a statistician to do it, but you can develop your own skills in doing it. And it's very interesting, right? It's very interesting. You get data, and when I get data, I can't sleep actually, right? Over data. I do it even if I get it 12 p.m. I'll do, and I want to know how the my assessment in my institution or the students have performed and all. So then we use those data to do is faculty development activities, and then we how to improve, right, at different level, at the working group level, then at curriculum and assessment committee level. There are different level we consider, and then some modification, some change in our practice has to be brought in. Okay, so I'm done. Hassan, how much time is left? Is done?
Yes, Prof. We have 5 minutes more.
Okay, done. Okay, I'm done actually. So if you have any question, yeah, the last thing that I wanted to have you is actually the one assignment. Right? Yeah. Yeah, we want to give you one assignment actually, which is very interesting. This one. Okay, factor analysis I'm leaving because this is about reliability and need a full session on that. I'll do some other time, right? If you can have this, yeah, this is. Now this is interesting, right? Now having learned through these two workshops, I have given you a question, which is a practical scenario, very practical scenario, and some of your institution who are doing the postgraduate program, particularly health profession education program. So the question is, the accreditation body of your country wants to ensure continuing quality improvement being implemented based on evidences provided through evaluation of assessment, right? So this is what they want you. So only 5 students are registered for this program. Program uses extended response question, which in our time was known as long essay. So extended response, I'm using this medical term, extended response question as assignments, right? It is an assignment, 1,000 words of 1,500 words assignment, whatever. And each module is the only assessment tool of the student's performance. So they use for one module, for example, 2 assignments or 3 assignments are used as long essays or extended response question, and only there are 5 students. You are asked to submit the evidences of reliability and validity for CQI as claimed in your assessment document. Okay, critically appraise, what you have to do is critically appraise the steps you will take to optimize the reliability and validity of assessment using assignments, right? How would you do it? Now, what cognitive level domain we have addressed in this is, the question is aligned with Bloom taxonomy of cognitive domain, which is when you put appraise addresses C2, C5, and C6. So C2 is comprehension, 5 is evaluation, and 6 is creation. So these two. So we have taken this question to C6 level. You are allowed, it's an open book question. You are allowed not 1 day, 1 hour, 2 hours. You are allowed 2 weeks. Okay. Go do whatever resources you have, but I would say instead of going any other resources to workshop that you have attended, if you carefully go through those and you recall, you can easily answer this question. So those who will answer this question is not, it may take half a page maximum, right? So if you do it, then you upload this link. Hasnan will provide you the link. Those who will upload, we will give them the feedback, right? And if interesting, some of you respond, then we will use this to know as the immediate impact of this workshop in our next workshop. So we will discuss the answer with some of you responding, and then actual answer. And this is an open book. So knowing that we have taken it to the level where it doesn't matter to me, no proctoring, nothing, no invigilation. You have 2 weeks, not 1 day or 2 days, and do it and then upload. Thank you very much. This is your assignment.
Yeah, thanks, Prof. I think I have shared already the link. What you need to do, you create a file, upload to Dropbox or Google Drive or whatever storage online, share the link in the form, and later on then Prof will give you feedback. So do share your email or contact details so we can get back, or even in the next workshop, you know. And we can take some of your questions. So feel free to type in the chat or unmute yourself and ask the question.
Can you warm my tea?
Yes, is there any question? Oh, I think, Prof, you need to unmute, Prof. Yes.
I hope I was unmuted throughout.
yeah, I just muted just now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
could see a lot of.
If person like you is around, you can always take care of these things actually.
Yeah, when you were requesting something, so I muted. I could see a lot of mics unmuted. So can I ask Prof. Shabi if you want to say something?
Yes, thank you, Shahid. That was absolutely amazing. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Prof.
Yes, Prof.
Thank you. So thank you again, Shahid. It was excellent.
Sorry, Prof. Shabi, can you unmute yourself again?
Okay.
Dr. Shahid Hassan, really it was a nice lecture and
Thank you,
really
sir.
a brainstorming, Professor Bukhari.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
And it was really a brainstorming, and I appreciate you a continuously workshop of the 2 hours. And hopefully this lecture, it is at a postgraduate level. I hope, inshallah, all of the participants would have enjoyed this workshop.
Thank you, sir, for your comment. Prof. Shabi?
Yeah. So what I was saying was that thank you again. It was an amazing workshop, very powerful, absolutely. And like Dr. Bukhari said, brainstorming, high level, absolutely goes without saying. So no, thank you. And thank you, Hasnan, for conducting and moderating so well. And thank you, Shifa, for organizing, and Mubashir for certification, and Dr. Bukhari for helping all the team, everybody. Thank you. And thank you, participants, for attending this workshop for 2 hours. So it's a long and very, well, of course, strenuous workshop, but we totally enjoyed it. We learned a great deal of things. Now, a couple of things I'd like to say, and then we'll close and hand over to Hasnan and Shifa. We have been conducting these programs since 17th of May. So it's been almost 6 months, or nearly 6 months, if you look at it. So November and December, and the next month we'll have maybe 2 webinars, but definitely 1 workshop. And in December, we'll have also about 4 more activities till we reach Christmas, and then we'll have a break. So the program is, and that is an internal arrangement we'll make, that will develop our MOOCs during this period of time. And I request all participants and experts to help us in developing this MOOC program and help us with contents and everything that you can help with. Also, we're hoping that Shifa is working on it at the moment, that from January onwards, we'll have clinical webinars, not just dedicated to medical education like faculty now, but we'll go on to clinical scenarios and MOOCs and short courses, like in diabetology or cardiology or otolaryngology or oncology and things like. Because IMI has a load of academicians, clinicians in different countries, and they've all volunteered. We requested about 50 or 40 have agreed. So hopefully that program will be available. It will be launched on our webpage before the end of the year, so between Christmas and the New Year. Also, finally, we want to start our short courses, certification courses on assessment, teaching strategies and curriculum development, plus also other fields, like could be a short course in interventional cardiology maybe, or gastroenterology or something like this. So that is the program. Hopefully we'll continue to do as best as we can. The only objective of SIU is to serve mankind without any bias. Service to mankind is the best motto. Thank you so much, and God bless you all. I'll hand over to Hasnan and then to Shifa to conclude. Thank you.
Thanks, Prof. Shebi, for closing remarks. I don't know if Prof. Shahid can spare a few seconds in answering one question. Prof. Shahid?
Yeah, Hasnan.
There is a question explaining the term psychometrics in assessment.
Yeah. I read your message. So can you explain the term psychometrics in assessment? Actually, you can get away with using this term, and you can directly talk of the reliability in terms of reliability, validity, its practicality, and overall educational impact and all. Psychometrics is basically used, this very popular term for in psychology, where they have a lot of tools, and they have tools that determine the anxiety or depression and all other aspects, and then they use the psychometry for analyzing the items for in terms of factor analysis or for reliability and validity aspect of it. But when you use it in assessment, actually these psychometrics collectively is the overall reliability, validity, and the educational impact, considering the feasibility and the practicality. All this together put is the psychometrics. So the psychometrics actually versus design, how we design the assessment. So when you look at this, the more emphasis should go to the design. If your design is good, psychometrics is not. Psychometrics, when we talk in assessment, is implying to or referring to reliability and validity, basically.
Yes, Prof. Thanks, Prof. Over to Shifa to close and announce for next workshop.
Perfect. Thank you so much, everyone. Professor Shahid, again, amazing lecture and amazing workshop for all of us. I'd just like to mention to everyone of our next event coming in in November with Professor Anne-Marie Reid. We're going to be talking about contemporary approaches to curriculum development and quality assurance. So please continue to check our website and your emails on how to register for the upcoming events, and also please share with your networks, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Hasnan. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, and Khuda Hafiz.
Prof. Bukhari and Shifa of all.
Thank you so
Shifa,
much.
thank you very much. You are doing an extraordinary job for all of us. Thank you, Shifa. And Hasnan too.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then Hasnan, sir, Hasnan is going to have, he has 4 workshops submitted. So maybe we have to switch over from assessment to e-learning tool. So next, probably Hasnan is, and other slots that we have, Hasnan is going to occupy those slots. So I have requested Hasnan. He has submitted four workshops, which has been approved, all 4.
Wonderful, wonderful. That'd be great. So thanks, if we can fill up that form that you already have.
Yeah, the request. Yeah, so can we make a request to all of you that you might have been tired of seeing me again and again in last 6 months, fed up of my face saying again and again. So Hasnan will be replacing me with the e-learning tools workshops and other aspects of the e-learning. But we are inviting, we have an online invitation where you can submit your workshop proposal. Please do submit, and we will tell you very quick. We will tell it within a couple of days if I have the 3 assessor giving me the assessment within that time. So a couple of maximum, we will take a week, and then we'll get back to you, and then you can prepare and present your workshops, right? So everything, the criteria, what the time and the venue that you want to need, everything is in that proposal format. You use that template or format and submit your proposal, please. For all listeners, please, all those who are participating or not participating, please submit your proposals for the workshops. Thank you very much. Online submission
Thank
is,
you.
link will be provided to you. In SIV, we will share the link where you can submit your proposal. Thank you. Are we done?
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
For the